Elaine Parker stood at the edge of the conference room, her heart pounding with a mix of disbelief and clarity. The polished walls of Vertex Dynamics reflected a version of herself she barely recognized, a seasoned engineer caught in the crossfire of corporate restructuring. She had given a significant part of her life to this company, 22 years to be exact, and now she was hearing cold, indifferent words from Landon Hayes, the division head who had swooped in less than a year ago. "We're letting your department go." Landon's monotone delivery hung in the air like a fog. "Your final day is Friday." Elaine nodded, suppressing the storm within as she stood face to face with Landon, the Portland skyline sprawling in rigid lines behind him. He had dismantled what she had painstakingly built over decades, and now he was discarding it as if it were nothing more than an ancient relic. But beneath Elaine's calm exterior, a plan was brewing. She refrained from begging or showing the tears he might have expected. Instead, she offered a professional smile and a steady handshake that puzzled Landon, layering his relief with a dash of confusion. Although the conversation concluded her stint at Vertex, Elaine had a history with the company that her managers seemed to overlook. Much like the narrative of Vertex itself, she had once been full of ambition, stepping into the company as a hopeful engineer when the enterprise was barely more than a fledgling startup with dreams of automating the industrial world. With each patent she developed, she had sewn herself deeper into the fabric of Vertex's success. Her team, 6 talented engineers, each blindsided by the morning's announcement, were left reeling as Elaine returned to them. Riley, her gifted protege, sat crestfallen, eyes puffy from unshed tears. "How could they do this to you?" Riley murmured, eyes filled with disbelief. Without revealing her secret weapon, Elaine gave Riley's shoulder a reassuring squeeze. The company had unknowingly handed her an ace. Core patents signed off by the founder, Grayson Fletcher, had always been in her name. Years earlier, as the startup faced financial turbulence, Elaine agreed to a modest salary in exchange for patent ownership rights. A calculated move then, a godsend now. Each patent tucked away, forgotten by nearly everyone except Elaine and her attorney, was a fortress. The technology underpinning the HVX 350 line, the company's financial lifeblood, was hers, shielded legally by her foresight. The team Landon planned to outsource in Seattle would find themselves stranded without access to these essential innovations. As she silently cleared her workspace later that day, a dismissive severance offer landed in her inbox. 16 weeks for over 2 decades of service, it was laughable. But Elaine knew the real value she held. She recalled walking into Vertex's old converted warehouse office, the echo of founder Grayson Fletcher's words in her memory, a handshake promise that she would own whatever she created. Now, those words carried her into a future where she held the cards, her revenge subtly measured, bound by the brilliance she had always possessed. As the sun began its slow ascent over the Portland skyline, Elaine Parker stood inside the quiet echo of a once busy office. The dawn light painted long shadows across stacks of papers and unfinished projects, symbols of a career abruptly halted. After more than 2 decades with Vertex Dynamics, she found herself preparing to leave behind a legacy only she seemed to truly appreciate. Years ago, when Vertex was but a fledgling firm, Elaine had made an agreement with the founder, Grayson Fletcher. He had proposed a unique arrangement. Vertex would have exclusive rights to her technologies as long as she remained on board. In exchange, she would retain ownership of the patents, no matter what fate the company might face. That agreement had safeguarded both of them, but through the years and Grayson's eventual retirement, the knowledge of this vital arrangement seemed to have faded into obscurity. Now, with a new management team at the helm, her groundbreaking contributions had been overshadowed by spreadsheets and bottom lines. Landon Hayes, the current head with impressive credentials from Browning Business School, saw only numbers. Her department of 6 could be replaced by a more cost-effective overseas team. Despite the impending farewell, Elaine devoted her remaining days at Vertex to ensuring her team's future. She wrote glowing letters of recommendation, delicately balancing the sorrow of departure with the pride of their shared achievements. During a poignant luncheon, Riley, her most promising mentee, expressed concern. "What will you do now?" she inquired, eyes glistening. Elaine's lips curled into a knowing smile, a secret she held close. "This isn't the end," she replied with quiet confidence. Underestimating her was a mistake they would soon regret. On her last day, the halls that had witnessed her dedication were still, save for Elaine's footsteps. She arrived at 6 in the morning, greeted only by the silent nod of security. While making her rounds under the guise of collecting personal belongings, she was, in truth, bidding a silent farewell to each innovation she had fostered. In the lab, she took a moment with the models representing years of relentless creativity, each an anchor to her journey with Vertex. By 8, colleagues shuffled in, offering muted goodbyes and hesitant smiles. At the final team meeting, Elaine addressed her team with sincerity and pride. "Working with you has been an honor," she said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "What we built together is significant." At noon, with calculated efficiency, Landon's assistant handed her the termination documents. She accepted them with grace and handed over her badge, simultaneously closing a chapter and opening infinite possibilities. By 2, as she walked past Vertex's polished doors and into her future, she carried not just memories, but the tools for a new beginning. Later, in the somber quiet of her attorney Jordan's office, Elaine felt reassured. Jordan scanned the legal documents, affirming the strength of her patents. "The licensing agreement ends with your employment," he confirmed, "and the new terms give you a strong negotiating position, elevated consulting fees, exclusive rights management, and veto over any changes to your work." It's bold, but necessary. Elaine contemplated the road ahead. "How long before they hit the roadblock?" she asked, leaning into Jordan's pragmatic wisdom. "It depends on how soon they try to alter the systems," he explained. "The moment they attempt any changes, the truth will surface. And then they'll truly understand the value they've lost." And so, the stage was set for Elaine's quiet yet formidable revenge, underscored by a confidence in her legacy and a certainty in her resolve. As the mountain air filled her lungs, Elaine Parker felt a mix of liberation and nostalgia. She had ventured into the tranquil expanse of her garden, determined to uproot the remnants of a past she was leaving behind while planting the seeds of an undiscovered future. The vibrant colors of new bulbs danced in contrast against the withered leaves, echoing the renewal she sought in life. Her Saturday unfolded without the shadows of Vertex dynamics casting long into her heart. By Sunday, she ventured into Granite Cliffs Park, marveling at the rock climbers defying gravity. Their ability to cling to crevices seemed a metaphor for her own journey, a discovery of unseen footholds in a daunting vertical ascent. By the time Monday greeted her, Elaine embraced the calm absence of structured schedules and frantic commutes. Her coffee's aroma wrapped around her like a familiar comfort as she perused the morning headlines on her tablet. At precisely 9 in the morning, her attorney, Jordan, would dispatch the cease and desist notice to Vertex Dynamics' legal team. The unraveling had commenced. Just 3 days later, the phone rang. Elaine recognized the subtle undercurrent of panic in the voice of Laura, legal counsel at Vertex, as she struggled to frame their predicament. "Elaine, this is Laura. We received some concerning communication from your lawyer. Surely there's a misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding, Laura," Elaine replied, calm and resolute. "The patents related to the HTX-20 systems are under my name. Vertex had licensing rights that were tied to my employment, which no longer exists." A weighted silence followed. "Could we have a meeting to discuss this?" Laura ventured hesitantly. "My attorney will handle all further discussions," Elaine stated, directing them to Jordan with unwavering certainty. As calls intensified through the corporate hierarchy, each plea further climbing up the ladder, Elaine remained detached, trusting Jordan to navigate the chaos. During their next update, his amusement was palpable. "They're in sheer panic," Jordan reported. "Their offshore team is hitting barriers, and pivoting the next generation HTX 500 has ceased entirely." Elaine's thoughts drifted momentarily to her former colleagues. "Any word on them trying to contact my team?" They've attempted to pull everyone back, but most are already ensconced in new roles. Riley, for example, started with Granite Ballet Tech on Monday, Jordan replied. The news brought a satisfied smile to Elaine's face. Riley would flourish in her new role. Then, 9 days into her departure, a voicemail arrived from Landon Hayes, Vertex's CEO himself. His voice strained against veiled desperation. Elaine, we need to have a serious talk about the patent issue. This situation is wreaking havoc with operations. Please contact me, his message implored, laced with an urgent plea. Elaine opted for silence, forwarding the note to Jordan with a brief instruction: let them marinate in their predicament a bit longer. Meanwhile, she took refuge in a retreat to the serene Glenwood shores, where natural hot springs and the embrace of the mountains provided solace her weary soul had longed for. At last, she felt the burdens of deadlines and unsolved equations lift away, surrendering to deep, dreamless sleep each night. On her return, Elaine found not just one, but 4 messages from Landon, each increasingly frantic. The last abandoned all airs of formality. Elaine, please, the board is on my back. We've halted 3 production lines. We need to talk terms, any terms. Jordan confirmed Vertex's stock took a steep hit, plummeting 12% amid rumors of their production stall reaching analysts. With an emergency board meeting looming on Friday, Elaine knew her moment had arrived. Time to negotiate, she told Jordan. Send over our terms. The proposal was clear-cut, tilting heavily in her favor. Her patents would be available again for licensing, with advisory services set at 5-fold her previous salary. Liberation was tasting even sweeter with each strategic move she made. It was a crisp morning when Elaine Parker heard the soft chime of her doorbell, interrupting her thoughts. Standing there, disheveled and weary, was Landon Hayes, once the division head at Vertex Dynamics, now demoted and stripped of his former authority. The fall from grace echoed in his voice as he said, Elaine, I just needed to talk before leaving Portland for good. Elaine could see he had been through the ringer, but her focus remained steady. This was never personal, Landon, she explained with a measured calm. It was always about preserving the integrity of what took years to build. Eyes cast downward, Landon mentioned the new interim head, Brooke Fletcher. Elaine blinked in surprise. Brooke, the daughter of the company's esteemed founder, was a name whispered in reverence and curiosity among the corporate circles. Known for her lightning-sharp intellect, Brooke had returned to navigate the chaos her father's company had landed in. Meeting in a quaint cafe far from Vertex's imposing headquarters, Elaine finally sat face to face with her. Brooke's gaze was as penetrating as Elaine remembered from years past. I flew back from Sydney the minute I got wind of this, Brooke disclosed, stirring her tea with methodical precision. Dad always said you were the foundation of Vertex's success. Brooke, having forged a career in renewable energy, had passively watched over her inherited shares in Vertex until the crisis called her back. The board approved your consulting terms without a hitch, she announced, her tone brisk. That's swift action, Elaine remarked, noting Brooke's ability to seize control where others faltered. Delays are costing us heavily, Brooke admitted. Landon's decision to outsource is being reconsidered. His vision was limited. Elaine considered her words carefully as she took a deliberate sip of her coffee. It's not just about the dollars, Brooke. Innovation demands respect, both for the ideas and the minds behind them. I agree, Brooke asserted, producing a document from her leather binder. Hence my proposal for you, a directorial role with strong executive influence. Elaine scanned the paper, eyebrows lifting. Director of Advanced Innovation, a position tailored to both honor and harness her capabilities, complete with a seat on the executive board. I appreciate the offer, Elaine replied, her pragmatism cautious yet intrigued. However, the outsourced staff, they need clear roles. They'll maintain infrastructure under your leadership, but strategic innovation is back in Portland. With you leading a new team, Brooke replied smoothly. Thoughts of her scattered former colleagues surfaced in Elaine's mind. I'll require competitive offers to entice top talent back, she noted. You'll have carte blanche with the budget, confirmed Brooke, leaving no room for doubt. With details in alignment, Elaine agreed in principle, promising a thorough review with her lawyer, Jordan. Later, as she went over the proposal with Jordan, an unexpected detail emerged. Elaine, Jordan said, his expression mingling surprise with satisfaction. This directorship comes with an immediate equity grant, 5% of Vertex. Elaine's stunned reaction prompted a chuckle from Jordan. Brooke clearly means business, he noted. It positions you as one of the largest individual stakeholders. After the way things had unraveled, Elaine took a moment to savor the poetic justice. Sometimes, the world balanced itself in unexpected ways, offering both recompense and redemption. A new chapter had unfolded for Elaine Parker as she stepped into the sleek expanse of Vertex Dynamics' executive floor. Just last week, the CEO, Brooke Fletcher, had offered her a chance that felt both surreal and justified, reclaim a role at the heart of innovation in a company she had once called home. Her new office, perched above the city of Portland, overlooked majestic mountains and the bustling downtown. On her desk, a small package awaited her, wrapped with care. Inside, she found a framed photograph taken years ago, capturing a younger Elaine with the founder, Grayson Fletcher, beside the initial model of the RPZ system. Below it, a note penned by Brooke read, "Dad always said you were the heartbeat of Vertex. Time to make that official." A quiet pride swelled within Elaine as she pieced together her new workspace. Her phone buzzed, drawing her attention. It was a text from her former protege, Riley. "Rumors say you're back. Is it true?" Elaine's fingers danced over the keys as she replied, "Better than back. How about leaving Alnova Designs to create something groundbreaking with us?" Riley's response came swiftly, filled with eagerness. "I'd drop it today for that chance." As plans began to align, the real shock came 2 weeks into Elaine's new position. Granted access to Vertex's extensive data archives, she unearthed a troubling connection. Landon Hayes, the disgraced former division head, had been colluding with Pinnacle Group, a shadowy private equity firm notorious for acquiring distressed assets. They planned to inflate short-term profits by slashing operational costs and then sell the depleted company for a hefty payout. In an urgent board meeting, Elaine laid bare the details. Landon arrived 8 months ago. Within just 3 months, Pinnacle began purchasing shares through opaque shell entities, she explained calmly, showing the email trail. 5 months in, his decision to outsource key departments coincided with record profits, yet they intended to hollow out our core. Brooke drew in a sharp breath as she considered the implications. "Do you believe Landon was here purely to facilitate this?" "The evidence aligns," Elaine confirmed, demonstrating communications between Landon and Pinnacle executives that predated his stint at Vertex. Every supposed efficiency measure was routed directly to them. Lucas Monroe, a seasoned board member, stared at her in disbelief. "The acquisition would have decimated us, selling the company piece by piece." Nodding, Elaine added, "Our patents would have been parceled out, eroding Vertex's edge completely. My ownership protected us." Brooke's voice carried resolve as she spoke next. "Activate a shareholder rights plan immediately, Lucas. Elaine, coordinate with the legal team to safeguard our intellectual assets. We'll reconvene tomorrow." After the meeting, Brooke stopped Elaine privately. "You've defended this company not once, but twice," Brooke remarked softly. "First by crafting the game-changing technology, and now by thwarting an existential threat before it became irreversible." Elaine shook her head, humility woven into her words. "It was your father who had the foresight to protect innovative minds, not just products. That patent strategy was his vision." "He always insisted on the same about you," Brooke said, smiling warmly. "He called preserving your genius his wisest move, even when others thought him foolhardy." The subsequent weeks unfurled in a flurry of strategic maneuvers. Implementing measures to fend off hostile acquisition efforts, Vertex enacted a defensive shield, ensuring any aggressive attempts to seize control would implode under the weight of internal safeguards. Amidst whispered deals and hidden alliances, the truth had forged a path of its own. Landon Hayes had been quietly shown the door at Vertex Dynamics, his clandestine dealings with Pinnacle Group laid bare for regulatory eyes. Yet it was the assembly of a new powerhouse innovation team that truly invigorated Elaine Parker. She welcomed back her trusted second-in-command, Riley Thompson, bringing along two brilliant colleagues from their storied history, setting the stage for their next technological renaissance. Dreaming up adaptive control systems that would render their older models relics of the past brought them immense satisfaction. A month after laying bare the pinnacle plot, an invitation reached Elaine from Grayson Fletcher, the revered founder, now savoring the slower rhythm of semi-retirement in Portland. Though age had etched its marks, his intellect remained a beacon. "I always counted on them underestimating you," he mused, his frail hands hugging a warm mug. "Genius has the tendency to slip by those with blinkered vision." "I learned the best from you," Elaine replied, the weight of her mentor's legacy settling in her chest. With a twinkle in his eye, Grayson leaned in. "Let me tell you the best part of all this." "What could possibly top this story?" Elaine asked, curiosity piqued. "There's a patent they missed," he whispered. "And it's the crown jewel." Grayson's revelation sent Elaine on a deep dive into the archives. Buried in layers of old filings, she unearthed a hidden treasure, a comprehensive patent for a dynamic learning framework, a cornerstone for not only the RPZ line but future ventures. Filed under the banner of Omnitech Holdings, with Elaine and Grayson as equal guardians, it promised an extended shield over Vertex's technological heritage. Elaine later explained the fortuity to Brooke after confirming every detail with her legal advisor, Jordan. "This patent is our insurance, a powerful tool regardless of any leadership or employment shifts," Elaine noted. Brooke's eyes gleamed with newfound confidence. "Even if others saw your trademarks, this would have stayed out of their reach." Not a moment too soon, as Pinnacle had gathered enough clout to request significant board sway. Their envoy, Trevor Langston, graced Vertex's boardroom with unmasked confidence. "My role is to refine operations," he declared, facing the gathered leaders. "Vertex has immense dormant potential." Exchanging a knowing look with Brooke, Elaine approached him blanketed in polite formality. "We welcome fresh ideas, Mr. Langston." Coincidentally, we're unveiling an exciting intellectual leap today. She unveiled the Master Framework documents. This groundbreaking patent has returned to Vertex's exclusive control with assurances for our innovation future. As Trevor absorbed the gravity of the documents, shock replaced his earlier bravado. "This changes everything," he muttered, visibly unsettled. "Indeed, it does," Elaine confirmed smoothly. "Absolutely everything." In the ensuing months, Pinnacle's grand scheme unraveled entirely. Deprived of command over foundational tech, their acquisition dreams evaporated, leaving them divesting from Vertex at considerable losses. Trevor Langston tendered his resignation post-haste, his industry standing darkened and diminished. With external threats now defused, Elaine and Riley steered a thorough evaluation of Vertex's creative engine, spotting uncharted avenues and bridging rough edges. Their revitalized crew, a mosaic of seasoned engineers and eager newcomers, embarked on trailblazing projects safeguarding leadership and innovation. Yet perhaps most fulfilling was the adoption of a comprehensive policy championing intellectual property rights, a testament to the values she and Grayson envisioned, now etched into the company's very soul. The boardroom hummed with quiet anticipation as Elaine Parker prepared to introduce a radical shift in company policy at Vertex Dynamics. Engineers would now own stakes in their creations, while Vertex retained exclusive licensing rights, a groundbreaking approach dubbed the Prosperity Program by CEO Brooke Fletcher. Innovation flourishes when creators have a tangible stake in what they produce, Elaine told the gathered employees, her voice clear and resolute. "This is more than about patents. It's about honoring the intellects fueling our triumphs." Replacing the short-sighted leadership of her predecessor, Vanessa Lane brought a fresh, insightful perspective. With dual expertise in engineering and management, she saw beyond spreadsheets, valuing the irreplaceable institutional wisdom and inventive problem-solving thriving within the company. "I can only imagine Trevor's reaction to this overhaul," remarked Sean, a fellow team leader, during a meeting. Elaine shook her head. "It's not about one-upping anyone," she said, sincerity in her tone. "It's about ensuring that both the technology and its architects are rightfully valued." Brooke, witnessing the exchange, nodded in agreement. That's precisely why you're perfect for your role, Elaine. Balancing recognition with results. As the meeting concluded, Elaine reflected on the profound restoration of balance within Vertex Dynamics. The seeds sown over her 24-year journey had matured into a canopy of protection, one that shielded every innovative soul daring to dream within those walls. Reviewing her path from a young engineer to a strategic leader, she acknowledged the true force lay with those working silently, crafting the future rather than seeking the spotlight. Power, she knew now, was found in the quiet determination of those building for tomorrow.